There had been plenty of time until today, but I hadn't been able to get in touch with my son, Brian, or his wife, Ashley, and we couldn't coordinate where to meet. This had never happened before, so I was quite worried, but since they both have jobs, I couldn't push them too hard. In the end, I left home alone. Do you know where your mom and dad are? I've been trying to reach them, but I can't get through.
I don't know either. They were home this morning, though.
I see. But now that I'm here, do you feel a little better?
Yeah. I'm happier to see you than them.
That's good. But as soon as I said it, I hesitated. Wait, is that really something to be glad about? I pushed down the uneasy feeling rising inside me and asked, trying to keep my voice steady, why do you feel that way?
Because I don't think Mom and Dad really like me.
While making soup, I find myself reflecting on life. Naturally, the first thing that comes to mind is my husband. He passed away 6 years ago from a sudden heart attack, with no warning at all. I, Sarah, lost the partner I had spent more than half my life with. My husband and I have a son, Brian. He's about to turn 30, a full-grown man now. When he was young, I had my hands full with him, but it's been a long time since those days. The last time he really gave me trouble was more than 10 years ago, when he was about to graduate from college and hit a roadblock in his job search. He was a complete wreck during that time. He would lash out at things without a second thought, sometimes raise his voice at my husband and me, and in the end, he was on the verge of going down the wrong path. But we managed to stop it just in time. My cousin, Matthew, who held a decent position at a company, pulled some strings and helped Brian land a job through a connection. After that, it was like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders, and he gradually went back to being himself. My husband and I, having watched the whole thing unfold, both felt an immense sense of relief. I can still remember that feeling vividly. Before long, Brian fell in love with a woman named Ashley at work, and they eventually got married. But since the details of how that happened don't have much to do with my own life, I'll skip ahead a bit. 7 years ago, my beloved granddaughter Lily was born. I was overjoyed when she came into the world. My husband was still alive back then, so the two of us celebrated together, even more than the parents themselves. It breaks my heart that he didn't get to watch Lily grow up, but at least he got to see her face, and I want to believe that brought him some happiness. And now here I am, making a meal for Lily in my kitchen.
Grandma, what are you making today?
I'm making your favorite soup, Lily. It's almost ready. Do you want to help?
Yeah, okay, I'd love to.
Lily is such a sweet, well-mannered child. She never throws tantrums or demands things, and she's always happy to chat or help with even the simplest tasks. Of course, I don't expect a 7-year-old to fully understand the subtle emotions of others, but I can tell she has that ability deep down. On top of that, Lily is especially attached to me. I don't know much about how other grandparents and grandchildren interact, but our bond feels closer to that of a parent and child, rather than just grandmother and granddaughter. Then again, since I never had a daughter, I suppose that's a question without an answer for me.
It's done.
Lily puffed out her chest proudly, and I couldn't help but find her absolutely adorable. Now, I truly understand what people mean when they say they love someone so much it wouldn't hurt even if they were hit in the eye with them. Thank you. I'll take care of the rest, so you go ahead and sit down and wait.
Okay.
As I watched Lily take a bite of her soup after letting it cool a little, I realized mine had already gone cold. What did Mom and Dad say about where they were going today? Brian and Ashley go out once or twice a month for some time alone as a couple, leaving Lily with me. No matter what others might think, I have absolutely no objection to it. I believe parents need at least a little time to take a break from the daily demands of raising a child. But if I'm being honest, that's only part of it. More than anything, sharing these meals with Lily has become my greatest joy in life. As for Lily, she's as well-mannered as ever. In fact, she once told me that, just like me, she enjoys this time together. I often hug her tightly, and each time, it feels just a little more special.
They said they're going to their usual restaurant.
Lily answered after licking her spoon clean. Her bowl was completely empty.
Thanks for the meal. It was delicious.
I'm glad you liked it. With that, she picked up her empty bowl, carried it to the kitchen, and set it in the sink with some water. The fact that she does all this on her own must be a sign of good upbringing. Thinking about how much trouble Brian was as a child, I feel relieved to see that he's turned into a responsible parent. If this is their way of taking a break, then I'm more than happy to spend my time like this.
Oh, Grandma,
What is it?
I got a letter from school today about field day. Here, look. Will you come?
It was still about 2 weeks away, but I suddenly realized the season had already come around again. This would be Lily's first field day since starting elementary school, and skipping it wasn't even an option. Of course, I'll be there.
Yay!
Lily jumped up and spun around in excitement. To think she could be this happy over such a simple answer, how pure and innocent she is. Once again, my heart felt warm, like a tiny match had been struck inside me. The next 2 weeks passed in the blink of an eye, and the day of the field day finally arrived. There had been plenty of time until today, but I hadn't been able to get in touch with my son, Brian, or his wife, Ashley, and we couldn't coordinate where to meet. This had never happened before, so I was quite worried, but since they both have jobs, I couldn't push them too hard. In the end, I left home alone. The elementary school was packed with people. Trying to find just 2 people in this crowd was going to be nearly impossible. I fumbled with my smartphone, which I still wasn't used to, trying to call them again, but there was still no answer. That made me worry about something else, whether Lily was there or not. Pushing my way through the crowd, I made my way toward the spot Lily had told me about. When I finally reached the section where the first graders were sitting around the center of the field, I spotted a familiar face. Lily. I strained my aging voice, trying my best to call out to Lily and get her attention. After several attempts, she finally responded. She noticed me at last and turned her head in my direction.
Grandma.
Lily ran straight toward me. In the next moment, for some reason, she burst into tears. It wasn't that crying itself was a bad thing, but it was so unlike her to break down in front of so many people. She was always calm, well-mannered, and more perceptive than most kids her age. I had never seen her this upset before. It was at this moment that I finally realized something was wrong. Lily, what's wrong? It's okay, I'm here. Just like I always had, I gently wrapped my arms around her. It had been a long time since it had to comfort a crying child, but the years of experience it gained weren't for nothing. Holding her close, I walked with her toward the far edge of the field. Thankfully, or maybe unfortunately, the place was so crowded that nobody paid much attention to one crying child. The whole area was buzzing with noise and excitement. How are you feeling now? Are you okay?
Yeah,
Lily sniffled as she answered. Good. I just have a quick question. Do you mind?
it's about mom and dad, isn't it?
As sharp as ever. No, this must be the reason why. That's right. Do you know where they are? I've been trying to reach them, but I can't get through.
I don't know either. They were home this morning, though.
I see. But now that I'm here, do you feel a little better?
Yeah, I'm happier to see you than them.
That's good. But as soon as I said it, I hesitated. Wait, is that really something to be glad about? I pushed down the uneasy feeling rising inside me and asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Why do you feel that way?
Because I don't think mom and dad really like me.
Before I could even process those words, my phone rang.
Hello? Mom?
Despite everything that had happened, and despite the fact that he had left Lily alone, Brian's voice sounded completely normal. Where are you right now? You left Lily all by herself. What the hell are you thinking?
Sorry. The thing is, today's our anniversary. So Ashley and I are in Spain. We won't be back for a week. So can you watch Lily until then?
He said it so casually, without a shred of guilt. I couldn't even comprehend what he was saying at first. And when I finally did, shock hit me before anger could, followed closely by disappointment. Then the anger came. Are you serious right now? You didn't even leave her lunch or anything? But the call had already been disconnected. The dull beep of the ended call rang in my ears, but I barely registered it.
Grandma,
I swallowed the fury rising inside me and turned back to Lily. It's okay, I'm here. I wasn't sure who that "it's okay" was really meant for, but maybe it was for myself. Lily, you'll be staying at my house for a while. Also, I'm going to grab us some lunch, so be a good girl and wait for me, okay?
okay, but are you sure?
Of course. Your mom and dad had some last-minute work come up.
It always happens. That's why I'm alone every night.
What? After picking up a slightly fancier lunch at the nearest grocery store, I sat down at the edge of the parent seating area. Brian's words over the phone and what Lily had just told me weighed heavily on my mind. Maybe I should have felt relieved that nothing bad had happened to the two of them, but I just couldn't bring myself to feel that way. Of course, there's no excuse for both parents skipping their own daughter Lily's field day. And the fact that they were off on an anniversary trip abroad made it impossible to keep my anger in check. On top of that, when Lily said she was always alone at night, I instinctively lied and told her they had urgent work. But in reality, this was probably how things always were. Luckily, I thought of a way to find out for sure. Hello, Matthew.
Sarah, this is Rare. What's up?
Actually, I need a favor. Would you mind? Without much preamble, I briefly explained what had just happened. So, that's the situation. I need to know what's going on with Brian and Ashley at work.
That's unbelievable. What a terrible situation. I don't know much about Brian at work since we're in different departments. But if you give me some time, I can look into it for you.
Really? Thank you. That'd be a huge help. I'm just so worried about Lily.
I figured. Don't worry. I'll take care of it. You just focus on looking after her.
He was incredibly reassuring. I had made the right call by reaching out to him. After hanging up, I noticed Lily running toward me from a distance. She seemed to have regained some energy, which put me at ease, if only a little. I got us lunch. Let's eat together. After field day ended, I took Lily back home with me. But since she didn't have any extra clothes or other necessities, I needed to go to Brian and Ashley's house to pick them up. By this point, I had organized my thoughts, and my anger had reached its peak. I couldn't believe they were capable of doing something like this. At the same time, my anger was directed more at myself than at them. It was a deep sense of disappointment and regret that I had noticed the signs before things reached this point. That's why I was planning to go not only to gather Lily's things, but also to find any clues I could. Of course, it wasn't trespassing or anything like that. I had a spare key, and they had entrusted me with Lily's care, so I had every right to be there. I had wanted to leave Lily at home and search for evidence thoroughly, but I realized that wouldn't be good for her. In the end, I decided to take her with me. Right now, she shouldn't be left alone. Okay, Lily, let's go to your house and grab some clothes.
Yeah,
She looked genuinely happy. Brian and Ashley's house was about a 20-minute drive from my home, located in a residential area just off the main road. I unlocked the front door with the spare key, and despite it still being early evening, the house was pitch black, making it almost impossible to see. It seemed they had truly planned to be away for a full week, closing all the blinds before leaving. No matter how their anniversary happened to coincide with Lily's field day, there was absolutely no excuse for abandoning her like this. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was another truth hidden beneath the surface. Lily, go to your room and get your things ready. I'll wait downstairs.
okay. A sleepover at Grandma's.
In the meantime, I decided to start searching for evidence in the living room. As I took my first step, I stepped on something. Ouch! It wasn't sharp, but it was hard and small. The room was too dark to see what it was, and just as I bent down to check, my phone rang again. I reached out for whatever I had stepped on while glancing at the screen. It was Matthew.
Hello? Is this a good time?
Yes, I'm fine. Did you find out anything? I answered, trying to ignore the pain in my foot. Hopefully, it hadn't come through in my voice.
Yeah. Though I'm not sure how useful this is, I figured I should tell you anyway. It seems that Brian and Ashley have a terrible work ethic. Constant tardiness and unapproved absences are the norm, but they hardly ever work overtime.
I was honestly shocked.
So if they're coming home late, they're probably just wandering around somewhere. I can't believe they leave little Lily alone until late at night.
The sheer level of stupidity was beyond anything I had imagined, leaving me at a loss for words.
This is just my guess, but the more you dig, the more dirt you're probably going to find. You might want to brace yourself.
Meanwhile, the object I had picked up was a casino chip.
Hello, Sarah? Are you okay?
I might not be. Look into it a little more. I'm going to do some digging on my end too. I had seen these on TV before, but this was the first time I had ever held one in real life. I knew exactly what this ordinary, unremarkable chip was. Near where the chips were scattered, there was a card that looked like a membership pass with visit dates recorded on it. They had been going about twice a month, and the dates matched perfectly. It seemed that they were addicted to gambling. And then there were the envelopes stacked on the dining table, all bearing the names of what looked like loan companies. The harsh reality these things pointed to was too overwhelming and raw to ignore. At the same time, an intense fear gripped me. A world I had thought had nothing to do with me was now unfolding right in front of my eyes. It was dark, heavy, and pressing down on me like a weight I couldn't escape. The night before Brian and Ashley were set to return, I got another call from Matthew.
I found something big.
He sounded shaken, and even though I hadn't seen him in years, I could clearly picture his expression.
Turns out they've been stealing from their company. I can't believe the mess we've been dealing with for years has turned into something this massive.
I had already considered this as part of the worst case scenario, so while I felt disappointed, I wasn't surprised. If anything, I gained a sense of certainty. I had been transferring money each month for Lily's future, but I knew now that it was long gone. Not only were they unsatisfied with their own earnings, but they had gone so far as to steal from others and even their workplace just to pour everything into gambling. Lily's well-being meant nothing to them. Thinking back, if the trip to Spain had really happened, they had probably hit a big win and spent it all on luxury instead of paying off debts. My heart burned with anger. Ultimately, my anger was not so much at Brian and Ashley, but at myself for not realizing the truth sooner and for not saving Lily when I still had the chance. If only I had picked up on something. If I had stopped them somehow. I knew it was too late for regrets, and that only made my anger grow stronger. Matthew, I have one last favor to ask.
At this point, I'm in all the way. Besides, the embezzlement issue affects us too.
I want both of them fired immediately.
Sarah, are you serious?
Yes, I've had enough. People who abandon their own child deserve consequences. And even if they hadn't, they still committed a crime. This is just the natural outcome.
Well, you're not wrong. Got it. I'll handle it on my end. I'll call you if there's any progress.
Thank you. The next day, Matthew called again.
Sarah, it's done. Once we started digging, the evidence kept piling up. It was an open and shut case.
Justice had been served. The day after Brian and Ashley returned from their trip, they finally contacted me. I had been waiting for their call. The fact that they hadn't even planned to pick up Lily on the day they got back was shocking.
Mom, what the hell happened?
I don't think I need to explain anything. This is just the result of your own actions.
No way. But firing us out of nowhere? That's insane.
Did you really think I knew nothing?
What?
When I went to get Lily's things, I found out everything. That you're addicted to gambling, that you've been taking out loans to cover your losses, that you've been ignoring debt collection notices. I'm sure you even spent the savings I had put aside for Lily, didn't you?
No. That's a misunderstanding.
Even if that were true, then tell me, what did you do with the company money you stole? You weren't fired because of gambling. You were fired because you were caught embezzling. Matthew investigated everything. After hearing all that, Brian had no choice but to stay silent. He didn't say a word for a while. Everything I had just listed wasn't speculation, a bluff, or a threat. It was simply the truth. But the more important part starts now. So, what are you going to do from here?
What do you mean? Help me. We're family.
Hearing those words, I couldn't help but laugh, even as anger swirled inside me. You abandoned Lily, and now you want to talk about family. How convenient. I already told you. This is the result of your own actions. I have no obligation to help you.
Wait. What about Lily?
The fact that he was only thinking of her now made my anger flare even more. I had already planned to take care of Lily myself, but I made sure to add one more thing. Lily has nothing to do with this. That's why I'm going to raise her. You two have no right to.
Wait, please. You could talk to Matthew. If you ask him, maybe he'll listen.
Were you even listening? This whole thing was uncovered because I asked Matthew to investigate. Why would I go back and convince him otherwise? Brian's mind clearly wasn't working properly anymore. And even now, all he cared about was saving himself. There was no hope for him. As Brian grew more frantic over the phone, I no longer felt any anger. The only thing left inside me was disappointment. Lily, come here for a moment. I need to talk to you about something important.
What is it?
From today on, you'll be living with me. Your mom and dad are busy with work, so they don't have much time to be with you. And I worry about you. Do you mind staying with me? Lily paused to think. Being as sharp as she was, I knew she had her own thoughts about everything that had happened. Then she looked up and smiled brightly.
Not at all. I love you, Grandma.
That pure, innocent smile was the only thing that saved me. As I made soup, I found myself lost in thought again. Lily loved soup, so at least once a week, I would stand by the stove, carefully simmering the ingredients. I had no idea what had happened to Brian and Ashley after that. I had practically cut ties and left my home behind, but they were still my son and his wife. It would be a lie to say I didn't think about them at all. Whether they were sitting behind bars for embezzlement, running from debt collectors, or barely scraping by somewhere, there was no good outcome for them. But it wasn't unfair. If anything, it was exactly what they deserved. Never in my life had I imagined that, at this stage, I would be caught in such a mess. As a parent, I could only feel ashamed.
Grandma, I'm home. Oh, is tonight's dinner soup?
Hi, Lily. Yes, it's your favorite soup, Lily.
Yay! I can't wait for dinner.
Now, go wash your hands first.
Okay.
Lily hadn't changed at all. At least, that's how she looked to me. I didn't know how much she truly understood. I had told her a small lie, but maybe she had already seen through it. Still, no matter how perceptive she was compared to other kids her age, she was still a child. All I could do now was hope that she would never have to learn the cruel truth.
I washed my hands.
Did you gargle too?
Yes. I want to help.
Thank you. The truth was, I was so happy that Lily had come to live with me. Being alone was lonelier than I had imagined, and I had always looked forward to her visits. But now, living together under the same roof, my heart felt full again. After everything that happened, we moved to a new place, knowing they might come looking for help. But I have no regrets about that decision now. At this stage in my life, nothing made me happier than seeing my granddaughter smile up close. Lily, can I ask you something?
What is it?
She tilted her head slightly, her big eyes shining with curiosity. She was still so pure. Do you ever feel lonely or sad being away from your mom and dad? Lily took her time before answering.
I do feel lonely, but being alone is even lonelier. So I'm really happy I get to be with you all the time.
I see. I couldn't find any words to say back. So instead, I just held her tightly in my arms.